Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the USD 230 Board of Education meeting for September 22nd. Rachel, will you please take the roll?
Mrs. Horn?
Here.
Mr. Chitwood?
Here.
Mrs. Mitchell?
Here.
Mr. Ewing?
Here.
Mrs. Milius?
Here.
Mr. Hull?
Here.
Mrs. Baker? We have a quorum.
Thank you. Moving on to approval of the agenda.
Madam President, I move that we approve the agenda as presented.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Rachel, please take the vote.
Mr. Chitwood?
Yes.
Mrs. Mitchell?
Yes.
Mr. Ewing?
Yes.
Mrs. Milius?
Yes.
Mr. Hull?
Yes.
Mrs. Horn?
Yes.
Approved.
Thank you. Would everyone please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everyone. Moving on to the reading of our mission and vision. We read these at the beginning of every meeting to keep our mission and vision at the forefront of all of our decisions. Our mission is to be a school district that engages students to learn, create, adapt, and succeed in an ever-changing world. And our vision is to maintain small town values and empower each student to achieve world-class success. All right, moving on to 5.01, public participation.
No cards were presented.
Thank you. Moving on to the consent agenda and the approval of the consent agenda, which includes approval of the minutes, clerk's report, treasurer's report, payroll and claims, personnel, renewal of Read Naturally Live grades K through 5, renewal of Kickstart, and renewal of Parchment.
Madam President, I move to approve the consent agenda as presented and read.
John, before we go there, I've just got one question on the parchment thing. And I'm assuming this would go to you, Josh, right? I'm sorry I didn't call you earlier, but I noticed in the proposal, there's a 1-year and a 3-year option. Are you proposing the 3-year option?
Yes. Look,
3-year? Okay.
phone
So my question, well, so my question on that is generally when you can make a commitment like that for a 3-year term, prices will come down. Are they anticipating some type of factor against rising students? Is that what it is? But is there a discount in there somewhere for the 3-year commit? There is. Okay. That's it.
Any
Well,
other
Madam
thoughts?
President, I move to approve the consent agenda as presented and read with explicit direction for the 3-year option on Kickstart.
Second.
All right, there's a motion and a second. Any discussion?
You meant parchment.
Parchment.
Right. You got that right. Okay.
All right, Rachel, please take the vote.
Mrs. Mitchell?
Yes.
Mr. Ewing?
Yes.
Mrs. Milius?
Yes.
Mr. Hull?
Yes.
Mrs. Horn?
Yes.
Mr. Chitwood?
Yes.
Approved.
Thank you. All right, moving on to 7.01, good news recognitions and announcements.
Yes, we have Mr. Peavy, our Director of Communications, is going to tell us the individuals that we have this evening that are going to talk to us a little bit about some of the great things that they do out in our buildings.
All right. Thank you, everybody, and good evening. We are excited to have some guests from Dayton Creek Elementary here today. They recently had their assembly for their Leader in Me program, and while the entire group couldn't make it, we do have several students that were able to be here. So to talk a little bit more about that, we have DCS Principal Dr. Miller, who's going to come up and say a few words. And you can give her a round of applause. That's fine. There you go. Yeah. And for our Dayton Creek students that are here, if you guys would like to come up and stand right here as Dr. Miller talks.
Good evening. Tonight, I am so proud to recognize our Leader in Me awardees for habit number 1, be proactive. Joining us this evening, representing our first graders, is Sophia Hewlett, Rebecca Wills. Our second graders, Camila Van Leeuwen and Vivian Rifle. Our fourth graders, Grace Payne and Presley Tunnel. Let's give them a round of applause, please. These leaders have shown excellence every day by being proactive. They have taken responsibility for their learning and their choices. They don't wait for things to happen. They take initiative. They solve problems and they set positive example for others. By being proactive, they have demonstrated a can-do attitude that the leadership starts with themselves. Their actions have helped create a strong start and a positive learning environment for our school year. We are honored to celebrate these students who have been empowered to lead by example with Leader in Me habit number 1, be proactive. Again, I invite everybody to give them a round of applause. We are so proud of you, leaders.
We're gonna get a picture with Malcolm. Try to make you guys a fist bump first, though. Good job. 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 Fantastic. So if you guys want to stand right here, Trell, President Williams, you guys want to come down? We'll get a picture and I'll do my best to stay out of the way so parents can get a picture here too after I get mine.
Hi, y'all.
Good job.
I'll give you the fifth grader.
Everybody wants to take 3 steps that way. That would be better. Perfect.
All right.
All right, big smiles. I'm gonna take several. 1, 2, 3. Fantastic. Good job, guys.
Thank you all so much.
Could you stay 1 minute? Could you stay for 1 minute? I'd love to hear, I think we'd all love to hear what things you've been doing to be proactive. Ladies, hey, could you tell us all the things you've been doing to demonstrate the be proactive mantra?
Want to turn around and Mrs. Villius there and says,
Hi.
did you guys think of anything you did to try to show that you were being proactive? Tough question.
I don't like public speaking either, so I get it.
What? Yes, ma'am.
Holding it.
Oh, holding a quiet cavalier.
Quiet cavalier. What does that mean? It helps us be proactive, right?
Yep, and be prepared for what's coming next. Awesome. What else? What other things? What about you? Okay. I know. Well, we are very proud of you guys. Way to be great examples and leaders in your school.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks.
Thanks for coming to our meeting.
Thank you. Thank you,
Thank you,
everyone.
parents, for bringing
Yeah.
your student.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We love celebrating them. All right. Is that all our good news?
Yes,
That's
Madam
fine.
President, that's our good news for this evening. And again, we thank the parents for doing that. And one thing I would want to reiterate is that that's one example of what is occurring in our elementary schools. The Leader in Me program with those 7 habits are implemented throughout all of our elementary schools. And there is consistency with that, and that pays off in so many other ways as it trickles down into the academics as well as the attributes with their own character of that. So yes, that's our good news announcements and recognitions.
Awesome. Well, thank you. All right, let's move on to 8.01, the Spring Hill High choir trip to Washington, D.C. I have some physical documents for you guys to follow along. Maybe that will hopefully give you a little bit more detail. So just one page down. My name is Rose Talktrop, and I am the choir director at Spring Hill. And today I am seeking approval for our choir to attend the National Memorial Day Choral Festival in Washington, D.C. this upcoming Memorial Day. So this is my second year teaching here at Spring Hill High School. And I was pretty excited about the opportunity to help grow this program. And we got to this point where last year I was like, I don't know when we're going to be able to take a trip. We haven't been on a trip since the early 2000s. The choir has not had an opportunity in quite some time. But then the opportunity arose for this occasion, and then I was reading about it and I thought, there is no way we can possibly turn down this opportunity. So on the next slide, so the National Memorial Day Choral Festival, we were formally invited to it, and it occurs during Memorial Day weekend. So it takes place in Washington, D.C., while we admire and all veterans come around, and we get to pretty much honor them during this season. And so a performance is held in the John F. Kennedy Center under the direction of Dr. Craig Jessup, who is a former lieutenant and director of Air Force music program. So he is a huge name in the Air Force music program, and he is one of the most well-known composers for choir and directors. We also have the opportunity to sing at the opening ceremony of the National Memorial Day Parade, which will be televised on Monday, May 25th. Not only is this just a great opportunity in itself, it is huge because it falls under America's 250th anniversary. So it's not just your everyday average Joe National Memorial Day Choral Festival, it is the 250th celebration. So that alone had me kind of freaking out and like, we got to do this because it's a huge deal. And this is also the last year that the founder, Dr. Craig Jessup, is going to be leading and conducting the performances. So he is the one who founded this festival and put it together. And this is his last ever year of actually putting it together. I don't know if I do anything on my end to switch the slide. I probably won't touch anything. Just hit the arrow key. Cool, great. So students enrolled in Madrigals and Destiny were offered the opportunity at Spring Hill High School to have the opportunity. I did have parents come, and I wanted to make sure that they were on board before coming to the board and seeking your approval. And so I sent a survey out to parents after having this formal meeting as far as what's going to be involved in raising money and making sure that we can make this happen. And 25 out of the 28 students are able to attend and have started fundraising for the event. And so with the questions that were sent out, we wanted to ensure, A, that the students who said that they could go are going to be willing to fundraise, because it's going to be some work to make it happen, but also making sure that they were available during that time. I know that it conflicted with state track at the time. The cost for each student to attend the event, actually, it changed a little bit, because with chaperones attending, I have 5 chaperones altogether, including myself, that will be going, which upped the number to 31. And so with 31 people attending, that drops the number that each student has to pay. So each student's going to be paying $2,400. In the handout that I handed to you, there's a more detailed itinerary. But essentially, first day, we're going to arrive in Washington, D.C. We're going to meet our tour manager, and then they're going to give us a tour of historic Washington, D.C. We're going to visit Arlington National Cemetery and attend the changing of the guard ceremony. There will be a welcome dinner that is provided, and then introductions, and then we would have our first rehearsal on that first day.
Most meals are actually included in that budget too. Day 2, breakfast at the hotel, a rehearsal, lunch, and then walking tour of the following memorials. So you can see that long list of memorials that they would get to visit. And then they get to go to Smithsonian Museum, followed by dinner at a local restaurant that is provided, and then another rehearsal to finish out. We would then have a dress rehearsal the next morning at the John F. Kennedy Center before the performance, followed by a boxed lunch, then performance, and then another dinner at a local restaurant that is provided. And then we will attend the National Memorial Day concert on the West Lawn. And that actually will be a military band that's doing that. And that's at the White House. I'm kind of excited about that myself. And then day 4 on your sheet, that is where we would attend the parade and actually perform downtown Washington, D.C. And that will be televised as well. So this is me asking for your approval.
Thank
Is
you.
there a financial obligation to the district that you're asking for?
Not necessarily to the district. There was an understanding that, like, since we didn't qualify, we would have to fundraise for it. Since this is the first time that we have done anything since the early 2000s, we do not have a lot of budget in our program. But like I said, we have been willing to hit the ground running with fundraising to try and make it happen.
Again.
One of the things people in your position normally ask us for is for us to pay for you.
If you would like to pay for me, that would be great.
Just to kind of get at what the questions typically are. Am I speaking incorrectly? Latrell?
I didn't come in with expectations. I do like to be a leader, that if I'm going to ask my kids to be fundraising money, I also like to show them that I'm willing to put in the work too. However, I came in with no expectations, but if you are willing to help, that would be a tremendous help.
Well, I didn't want to speak for you.
I
But-
appreciate it.
Planting some seeds there.
Well, and I don't want to speak for the board, but I mean, clearly there's, we're not going to say no to an opportunity like this. And I'd like to just throw it out there as consideration. The choir hasn't come to this body in 2 decades. Is that fair?
Yeah.
2 decades. We've got our 250th birthday for the country. This is a big deal. I'm assuming with the choir participating in the parade, right?
Mhm.
Are you planning on having a banner, Spring Hill, Kansas?
We'd be wearing Spring Hill t-shirts too. I know t-shirts are provided there, but like we would be wearing our shirts around Washington, D.C. at the
Yeah.
time too.
So I'm
And
just throwing this out there as consideration. I know we've got the rules, the policy that we recently passed, but I think this is one of those classic examples for an exception, simply because they haven't come to us in 20 years for any type of assistance. And I'd like to just throw it out there that we would, as a district, kick in $500 for each of the students to help. It's just a suggestion, and I'm throwing it out there for discussion.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I love it. And I will say that Ms. Todstrop has continued the excellence that our choir programs have been accustomed to. And these folks always go and compete and rank above the top. So I know this didn't happen to be a competition, but you guys always make Spring Hill proud. So I agree with Doug. I think it's the right thing to do.
Yeah, kind of where I'm going. I was leading down what do we need to kick in for this? Because not that it's not already on everybody's calendar, but my birthday is on the 24th.
Yeah,
just
I'm not
putting-
sure. I would kind of defer to the staff on the kicking in money for each student, because the band and the orchestra go on trips and we don't kick in money for each student for those. So we got to keep it. I mean, they went to the band went to the Pearl Harbor Memorial in Hawaii, and I don't think we kicked in money per student on that. And so each of these groups does things that are,
And that's kind of where I'm going. The happy middle is, but we do contribute transportation and paying for some of the staff and things to go, there's probably somewhere in the middle to be found.
Will you tell us more? So on your costs page, it shows that you get one for free.
Mhm.
And then how many chaperones were you expecting 5? Is that what you're?
So I have my accompanist who will also be attending with us, and then there should be 3 other parents who are joining us who have expressed interest in attending. So that would be 5, and that bumps us up to the 31 people going. Now I took that one free person and I actually divvied that up amongst the students because I figured, again, like I would like to show students, I'm willing to put in the dirty work like them.
And then on here, the 2,500, I'm guessing, is the land only 4 nights, 5 days tour.
Yeah, so we're doing the 4 nights, and we wouldn't do the 5 days. We would just do the four nights. We'd come back and all of the flights are covered. The only thing not covered with the flights is the luggage.
Oh,
So that price includes flights.
the 2,500.
Yes, the
includes flights.
25 includes flights.
That's the round trip airfare.
Gotcha. Okay. Oh, I see. I was off. Okay. I understand now. Okay. Perfect.
So we're going to have essentially 2 staff because you're accompanying us.
Yes.
And you, and then 3 parents?
Yes.
Okay.
Any other questions or thoughts?
I mean, I think we're always really supportive of these trips. They give experiences that you can't create in the classroom, and it's exciting for the students. It's exciting for the community to be looking for the students on televised things. And so it's a great, great, great experience.
Can you tell us what fundraisers we should look out for these kiddos?
Yeah. So we have started with a butter braid fundraiser. We're also doing a bake sale at our upcoming performance on October 1st, where we will also have donation buckets. We signed up for as many concession stands as possible at the high school. We are going to be doing business caroling. So we normally do a caroling tour at the middle schools, and then we do them at churches in the past. And so following the middle school caroling tour as well as the church caroling tour, we were going to offer it up to businesses to donate for us to sing 15 to 20 minutes of carols at their business, hoping that would probably give us some money. Another one that we're looking at doing for the high school is Valentine's Day grams. So we think that students would get a kick out of pay $5 to $10 and we'll send a couple kids to sing in their class to their loved ones. And I've talked to my students how it's going to be not embarrassing for the singers as it is for the person that they're singing to, but they think that would be a real big hit as far as getting kids in the classroom and singing and doing the Valentine's Day grams. We're just kind of reaching for anything and everything. Just got a hold of the Fall Festival one this week too. So anything that comes in my path, I've just been trying to nab at it and put it in their faces.
I love it. How are you promoting the caroling tour? Like, how can we get this out for you?
We are going to create a pamphlet or flyer for businesses, pretty much saying that we're seeking donations for the trip and explaining a little bit about the trip, and then giving a date, and then we'll kind of schedule out from there and have them, like, once they're willing to like maybe donate, then we would create a schedule on how to go about going to each of these businesses, but they would know that at least on that day we would go visit them.
And if a business was interested in that right now as they're listening, what email could they contact you at?
They can contact me at TalkTrop ROS, so TOCHTROP ROS at USD230.org.
Perfect. Okay. Any other comments, thoughts? I think I'm trying to look. I'm sorry. It looks like it'll probably come back at our next in 2 meetings, our first meeting in October for action.
Perfect.
Okay,
Thank you.
awesome. Thank you. Okay, moving on to 8.02, the data dashboard.
Executive Director for Teaching and Learning, Dr. Aaron Smith will share some information on some project that's been working on over the past year, trying to determine what would be the best resource to be able to hold and store all of our assessment data on our students, state assessment data, local assessment data, national assessment data. But think we finally have gotten to a solution. And she's going to explain what that recommendation is and what it would consist of. And again, tonight is information, questions, and then we would hopefully be able to bring it back to you on the 13th for approval. So Dr. Smith, please move forward with it.
Good evening. I think I also have a once in a lifetime opportunity here. So well, maybe not once in a lifetime, but a good opportunity. As a district that has been very committed to professional learning communities, you know that we are very data driven and very focused on using student achievement data to continuously improve our students' learning experience. And one of the things that's been a little bit of barrier to the work that our building teams have tried to do is putting different data sources together. So we have a number of different data sources that we can consider when we're trying to decide what's the best plan for a class, a grade level, or an individual student. So we'll have everything from state assessment data to an ACT data point, a universal screening data point like FastBridge, and then classroom assessment data. Then you want to look at that holistically against things like student attendance. Is the student struggling with any behaviors? Are there any risk factors for the student that we might need to consider that could be impacting their learning? And right now, our buildings are doing a wonderful job trying to review all of these data sources, but they're compiling them and putting them together by hand. So they're manually creating spreadsheets, which means that some of their time, instead of discussing the data and developing the right plans for students, is spent just on the compiling aspect. So what we're looking to do with a data dashboard is have a platform that allows us to take all of those data sources, put them in one central spot, and then easily filter by the data points that we'd like to look at. So if I want to look at students who are performing at a level 2 on state assessment, but also have missed more than 20% of days in the school year, I can quickly sort and be able to find those students and identify who do we maybe need to wrap around and help and ensure that they have a better learning experience and put some additional supports in place. The other piece that we're looking for too is a way just to house progress monitoring data. So when we've identified that there's a student or group of students that need some additional academic support, how can we track our efforts with intervention to know that it's working? To say, okay, we've been doing some additional academic support now for 8 weeks, 9 weeks. What does that data say? Is it saying that that's improving for the student, or do we need to change up what we're doing because we're just not seeing the growth that we'd like to see? So this would definitely give our buildings, our teacher teams a chance to really have more time in PLC to talk about what they want to do to better support the students and less time creating some spreadsheets. And I did invite a few principals who were on the team with me. Like Dr. Luttrell said, we started researching products and reviewing different platforms last school year in the fall semester. So we've taken a lot of time in reviewing proposals, meeting with vendors and asking them questions about what their products can do. The product that we're proposing is ION, and attached in board docs is a really lovely 55-page proposal. So if you're interested in learning more between now and the next meeting, there's some light reading that you can engage in. And that does include some information about the product itself, but also I think some information regarding that I think the board would be interested in with pricing. How does that structure work? But before we get into that, I would like to just real quickly invite up a couple of the principals that were on the team, Mr. Cost, Mr. Meek, Ms. Endicott, and Dr. Miller. And I just asked them to share a few things about how a platform like this would kind of help create some efficiency and greater effectiveness in their work.
Yeah, so I'll speak to one specific way that I think we would envision using this at the high school. We have an increasing population of students with IEPs, 504s, and then students that we serve with student intervention plans. Right now, we have about 10% of our student population with IEPs. We're over 90 504s, so roughly about 9%. And then our student intervention plan population is also growing. So kind of what Dr. Smith spoke to, one hindrance for us in serving these students is just compiling data in sheets. It's very time consuming. Sometimes it can be cumbersome. So with some of the data walls that ION allows you to build, it really streamlines and expedites that process that allows us to get to the mission, which is serving our students and not gathering data. And I think it would help improve our conversations around student performance in the classroom. Attendance is a big hot button issue at the high school that we work through every day. And there's a lot of ways that you can kind of focus your energies on attendance and academics specifically to see if the interventions that we're putting in place and accommodations are working. So it would be a great tool for us at the high school.
I do want to add that this program will allow us to really strengthen our efforts in meeting our KISA accreditation, especially when we talked about our goal setting and when we said that our focus is to not only increase the performance and outcomes of all students, but also look at subgroups and how we can then make sure that we're targeting our support for those different groups of individuals. It will help us not just at the district improvement process, but also at the building level. So it allows us to be very efficient when it comes to building and grade level data analysis. It will really strengthen our PLC conversation that will help us to spend time in analyzing the data and not in creating the spreadsheets that we can then house in a very efficient and sustainable manner too, that can be accessed not just by the building, but also at the district level. In addition to that, just like what Dr. Smith has added, that it allows us to have some early signs or flag and follow students at the skill level by tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3. ION has the skills-based feature wherein it automatically determines an ROI or a rate of improvement, not just at the grade level, skill level, but also at the goal setting level that is fit for where's the student at and then where we want the student to be within that intervention cycle. And so it helps us really determine, is our intervention working? Is the effort that our students and our world-class staff have been putting really being productive? So it helps us determine how well we're doing for that.
I don't know what I'm going to add to all that, except that I can tell you that I sat in these meetings and it came across and I was like, where have you been all my life? Because I spent hours and hours and hours going through data and going from one website to another website to another website and trying to put it all together. And we are a very data-driven district, which is one of the things that I love about our district because I'm very data-driven and we can't make decisions unless we know what's happening. And I loved how it was presented. I loved how I just kept thinking about all the time it would save me and where I could be doing other things like in classrooms with teachers and a lot of the other things that I need to be doing instead of sitting and trying to spend hours on a computer putting data together. So I'm a big fan. I can't wait. I hope you approve it. I can't wait to see how much time it's going to save me. So.
I don't really know what I can add. I can tell you since I've been here, an ask that I've had from Dr. Drill and Dr. Robinson is just, we do a great job of collecting data, but managing it and utilizing it, I still think we do a great job, but it's a time suck. It really takes us a lot of time to go through everything and utilize it correctly. Doing MTSS, our interventions, SIP process, PLCs. I mean, we're using the data, but getting to a point where we can utilize the data, it might be 3 or 4 weeks after we've taken an assessment. Whereas if we had a data dashboard like this, as soon as we have a result and it can get uploaded, we can start using that data because it's not taking a staff member to just enter it in. Some things that we can do with something like this, I have last year's scores, I have this year's score, but if I wanted to put them together and actually see the growth of said student, I'm going to be pulling up my 3 different spreadsheets where a data dashboard is going to let us just look at that kid over time. So for us, I really think we're doing great things and we can do a lot of more great things here, but this is going to help us go to that next level of really using the data that we have and utilize it in the best way that we possibly can to provide what we should be for our students. That's all.
So I think this is why it's the deal of the century, right? So for the bargain price, you'll see there's in the proposal, there is detailed information on the pricing structure that's on page 52, but the memo just has a quick breakdown of what the costs include. And the pricing structure is by your enrollment count. So right now, today was count day, so we'll get an accurate picture of how many students are enrolled. Yep, see, excitement over there. But at the time that we asked for proposals, we did provide just the number of 4,100 as a general enrollment number. So this particular product we're proposing is a by student count for how they come up with what your annual fee is. And part of that is because not only can you get reports that are on that big picture district level or building level, but this will create that individual student profile. So if I just really need to dig in and see what are those different data points that are impacting Aaron Smith's education right now. Maybe some of my assessments have been surprising to the teachers and they want to start looking at what factors might be contributing to this that we're not seeing, or getting an early warning system. Ooh, hey, Erin's had a couple of tests that didn't go so well, and this isn't a typical pattern for her. Heads up before this becomes, a problem. We want to provide early intervention. So the annual fee you'll see is $27,675 for the initial year. There is that implementation fee of $4,000 to help build all the different dashboards. So there are dashboards that ION already has created. They work with a number of different school districts across Kansas. So they're very familiar with our common data sources that most school districts are using, but they'll also customize those. So if we talk about different dashboards, different data sets that we would like our individual teams, our buildings to be able to access, they'll build those and help us start figuring out how we want to filter and drill that data down. So that initial implementation fee is just for that first year. The contract, your initial contract is a contract that would take us through, if we were to make a decision at the next board meeting, it would take us through October of 2028. And after that, if we were not satisfied with the product, we'd given it time to build out the tools, give our teacher teams and our buildings a chance to use them. If we were not satisfied with the product, then we just provide them 30 days notice and we would be able to choose to no longer use that service. So, and Mr. Holder and I have had some conversations. We are able to include this in the teaching and learning department budget since it would be used district-wide to support academics. So we are able to support this and sustain the cost moving forward. Unless Mr. Chitwood wants to sell some honey for us and donate funds. That's always an option too.
Well, I know I'm not doing the fundraisers that the choir's doing. Yeah, that's the one thing.
Well, the good news is we have had several budget conversations between Mr. Holder and our executive leadership, and I don't think we'll have to do fundraisers. We'll be able to support it with our school district budget.
Is there any thing that you're currently using that this would replace at all as far as cost goes?
So several years ago, and I know a little bit less about this product, so my apologies, but there was a student analysis tool that was purchased. It was something that Frontline had bought. They'd acquired it, pushed it out to school districts, and it was purchased several years ago, I think before many of us worked here. Frankly, it was really clunky though. They didn't do much to improve the product. It was pretty labor intensive and didn't talk with most of the common data sources that a school district is going to use. So I don't believe that it really ever offered any functionality to our teams. And we no longer have that product. We did not renew it this year, but essentially the cost difference is $6,000 a year. So this product is a little bit more expensive than the previous one. I think it was called Forecast 5. So there is a little bit of a cost replacement.
Would this also allow a parent to go in on Skyward and see that profile of their student, or is that not a function?
Not necessarily through Skyward, but you could provide family reports. So if you think about upcoming parent-teacher conferences and being able to share some of this data and make it a little bit more accessible or easy to understand, there'd be an option to do that through the platform.
Yeah, Dr. Smith, my questions center around our technology department and security.
Yes.
Access to the data. I know it's cloud-based, right? And so I don't know, Billy, if you can add any type of endorsement. And then there is a second piece of this I want to address after that as well. But yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm really, yeah.
I'm gonna go down the same road.
Well, yeah, so.
Come on down.
Billy, come on down. So yes, so we did include Billy as part of our committee who reviewed products because student data privacy and making sure that our data is secure was one of our criteria that we were reviewing. And that's the rubric that we used is included on board docs too. So if people are looking to see what were we looking for, data security is one of those areas.
Yeah, I sat in with the team on 4 different vendors.
Yes.
Yeah,
that's correct.
yeah, this one was a very impressive company as far as data security, the transmission of data secure in place. So I had no qualms about it. A couple of the other ones that we were looking at, I did question. We even reached out to, you're gonna have to forgive me, this was like 8 months ago now. I don't know. When did we do that? It's
We
been a while.
started the process a while ago, so it has been a work in
Even reached out
progress.
to it, I believe, is it Oleta that was using this one?
Shawnee Mission uses this
Yeah.
one as well, but there
Yeah.
are multiple districts across Kansas that use this one.
So I'm gonna drill into what I think you said. So data is encrypted at rest.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
positive.
Yeah.
You know,
I haven't been to their location, but yeah, they told us it was.
well, and you've just hit on it's pretty, it's shiny. Just like in the bank card world, we have outside audits that are required and doing that. Have they shared what is the industry standard for their security audits, penetration, data,
Yes.
all that? Have they shared the results of those with you and or asked that question of them? Because that's, I'm all for
Yeah.
making the move, but kind of like where Mr. Hall's going, which is how they treat our data is really important. And if they're not willing to do some of the minimum things, which is here's the results of our latest security suite. And those will be, port 41 was open and it shouldn't have been. If they're not willing to share that kind of information about how they're doing as a company, that erodes my trust in a relationship, right? Because our students' data, right now, we have a strategy that is very USD 230 centric. And that's how we ensure security is we keep it all, it's ours. And now we're talking about letting it all out. I'm going to want to know that that's ongoing. They have an agreement in place, all that kind of good stuff. And it's especially kudos that they encrypted REST because that's very closely mirrors the financial world.
And I didn't ask for the results, but I think the gentleman, again, it was months ago, will provide it to us as we asked for it.
Yeah, I think that's part of it. And kind of one of my other questions down that road is the agreement itself. I'd like to see that. In terms of there's liability issues associated with this. We know we won't name the company here, but companies that have lost, whether it's personal data or students' data, there's liabilities associated with that. And quite frankly, I'm looking for indemnifications of their bad actions if they're not doing things correctly.
Thank you.
I'm sorry.
No, that's great. No,
Keep going.
yeah, keep going. I was going to say ISO. Do they carry any type of ISO certification?
Yes.
God, I would hope so.
Yeah, I mean, I would imagine they would too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They did, yeah.
Mhm.
They checked all the boxes,
okay.
more than Frontline did, and we've been with Frontline since, I mean, that was
Before my
that
time.
was the
but-
year I started, so 2019.
But other than that, all good stuff. And I actually kind of, to that end, on the financial side, I'll put the principals on the spot. How many days, weeks is this going to save you? Because I know you guys are crunch. I know you spent, leave me alone. I got to figure out how to blah, blah, blah. And
I mean, it's really hard to say just because of the number of people that we have. I mean, you're talking 504 case managers, SPED teachers, principals. So it'll save a lot. We have a lot of different groups and teachers who are compiling assessment data and performance data and attendance data. So it's hard to put a number on it. Save a lot.
well, then I'll ask that question. Go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say, let me come at that from another direction,
exactly.
right? Because in sales, you know, you always try and distill things down to the smallest number, right? And so that's a perfect segue. So I just did some back of the napkin caveman math on this thing, right? And so when you look at the cost of this thing, as long as it's saving each of our staff 2 3/4 minutes per school year, it pays for itself.
And
2 3/4 minutes.
Some stats.
And I was actually going to go the other direction, which is even further, because we're saying this is going to be, everybody in teaching and learning is going to use this.
Mhm.
Our assistant superintendent, our superintendent, our principals, our interventionists,
Mhm. Yes.
and our
Every teacher team.
and our curriculum,
Mhm. Yeah.
I'm sorry, instructional coaches. So we're talking about 5, 10, 60 people, 50.
Well, I think once we get down to that teacher level, I mean, you're talking about every PLC team being able to use this. So literally every certified staff member being able to access their classroom data and look at that. So.
And so that's where I get to, and with the expanding capabilities, it's going to make us money. We're going to have to hire less people.
Yeah.
Sorry, not saying we're firing anybody or getting rid of anybody, but this is going to do work.
It definitely provides an efficiency that we do not currently have. So. And I know that everybody enjoys being able to look at data, look at it in different ways too. So I think it also helps our communication with the board. So as you'd like to, get progress checks on different aspects of student achievement, it will help us generate reports for all of our board members as well. But yeah, I think we can follow up on any of the specific questions regarding student data privacy, whether it, all of the boxes that we would want to see checked. And like I said, it's a pretty lengthy proposal. So no one needs to make a decision tonight. We'll come back and we can answer additional questions about it as everyone's had time to digest all of that information.
The other question I'll have to go along with it, which from a budgeting standpoint is, when we talk about, there's a certain number of things that come out of the box, right? And we're paying the 4K for making it. But I'm presuming that when the Board of Education or whoever says, I want everything sorted by color, smell, and favorite letter, they're going to say, hey, that's great. I can code that for you. The fee schedule is blank. Is that correct? That they'll make enhancements as asked for?
They will make enhancements as we ask them for them. What I would say though is because we have, an entire year for initial implementation, we'll have a lot of time to develop those things up front. So we should be able to identify the types of data sets that we want to see right off the bat. And like I said, and because they're working with a number of Kansas school districts, and I believe they're doing some work with the USA Kansas organization, they just entered a partnership with them as well. They're very familiar with the most common data sources that school districts are using. So part of the appeal of this particular product is there's not a lot of time spent on, well, have you worked with state assessment data before? Do you know what kind of file you're getting or what that looks like? So that is a nice piece for us, is that there's a lot of familiarity with some of those most common data sources, Skyward being a common SIS where we'd be pulling that attendance information from.
I'm there, but I'm more on the, we want a new dashboard. We want a
Okay,
new
yeah, yeah.
whatever. That's
You can add that as well.
for a fee. And that's where I'm going. What's their fee schedule for enhancements?
I will
Is
ask
the
that
other-
question.
the other
Yeah.
thing I want-
Beyond our initial term.
Yes.
Yes, I will ask that. And one thing that I did not highlight in the memo, but it is included in the full proposal. If in the initial subscription too, there is 40 hours of free professional development included. So we'd be able to work with their staff in training our district leadership team, creating some capacity within our building principals, our instructional coaches to help support teacher teams as we onboard them. So that is included, and that's written out in the full proposal. I just wanted to point that out because it's not I didn't pull that out as an item in the memo.
I'll be honest, the only thing that, and I don't even want to use the word pause, but everybody in these multi-year deals, it's just frustrating.
I would say, I think with a product like this, because you do want to take some time initially to start working to build the different dashboards that your teams would like to see. And then you want to spend some time training staff and making sure that they have adequate time within the PLC collaborative time to use it. I think if we were to go with just a 1-year deal, 1 year wouldn't be enough time to make sure that it fully worked. So I'm comfortable with the initial term, just because I think that's an appropriate amount of time for us to build it, train it, and actually really start using it, and then be at a point where we could evaluate effectiveness. If we were to do that just 1 year in, I don't know that we'd be in a spot to give it a fair shot. And I would say that with any product, not just the one we're proposing.
Okay, I have a few questions. Is this transferable? So once a student record is made, those records stay with them through the life of them in Spring Hill USD 230?
Yes. So what really helps too then is when you have a student who transitions from, say, elementary to middle school to high school, there's less shuffling around of paperwork or sharing of spreadsheets to make sure, like, hey, we were really successful with this student's plan. We want to see that continue when they get into middle school or high school. So there's that ability to, as kids transition from level to level, to keep the history of what we've been doing to support them in a more secure way than if we're just sharing a spreadsheet.
Yep. What does it look like uploading the current data that we have? Because I know every school is using a different spreadsheet format, what does that look like getting the data in there into this so that we have it's not just we're starting at zero?
Yeah, I would probably let Billy speak more to what the transition of that looks like. That's why we include him on the team, so he can speak to the technology aspects of it. So I'll let you field that one.
You hit the nail on the head on why this is important. The transferring of data is just en masse. We do bulk transfers, right? And that would be a nightly transfer. And then importing data in from other sources like Kite and things like that, they give us the ability to do. But where the strength of this is when we're creating data sets to actually review things, you can share those between schools. So it's not one school with a spreadsheet on one person's desktop. You can share them between everybody. So they're all looking at the same data set or the same rules with their own data.
Yeah. And honestly, it feels more secure when they're doing that too, because they're accessing it, which will hopefully prove in a very secure manner. So I feel more confident about that than when they're trying to provide a data set through just a spreadsheet.
So my other question is about formative that's used at the high school. Will this replace formative?
Not right away. It could potentially replace formative, but I think initially we just want to upload formative's data alongside our other data sources to build that picture, that profile for each student. So formative is one thing that Formative is doing is it's allowing you to build quizzes and tests within that platform, and then you can have that data set, which is really great. You can't necessarily stack that data up against any other data sources. So it's much like any other student achievement set. You'd be looking really at just those things, where for the high school, they could start looking at, okay, this is interesting. Erin Smith seems to do really well on these classroom-based assessments. She's done great on her quizzes. Her tests are all going really well. But by gosh, she's not scoring very well on standardized assessments. And that's what ION would be able to do. It would be able to pull some of that data from Formative and then pull it from a state assessment, an AP exam scores, looking at your big standardized test data points, as well as those classroom-based quizzes and tests as well.
So the one thing that I noticed with Formative is what I feel like is very infancy stage, because not everyone is using it. There's not requirements. I think the requirement, and tell me if I'm wrong, Mr. Cost, is that each teacher uses it for one assignment per semester or per quarter. And so what's our hope, or what's the requirement? What do we look at? Because what I don't want to do is, as great as Formative can be, I don't feel like we're utilizing it well enough until we really have all the data in there. So is our hope that we will fully engage teachers to use this? I mean, it's not a cheap tool, so.
Yeah, absolutely. So with Formative right now, that's a tool largely for our PLCs. So when they get together and they're working on Wednesdays, they've identified common quizzes that they're all giving. And then they're using that data collectively across the course or across the grade level to analyze student performance. So our expectation is that all PLC teams have a set of common quizzes or common assessments that they're all giving, and then they're collectively working around to assess student progress and achievement for individuals, the classroom, or the grade level. So with Formative, you would be looking to then take all of those identified common assessments that they're giving and use that as another data point that you could put into ION and review against other data sets. It's not unusual for a teacher team to sit down and say, wow, we've got a student who's, or, I'll give both examples. A student who does really well on classroom assessments, they do great on the weekly quiz or the unit test, but their standardized assessments aren't correlating. Or conversely, that kid who you're like, what? They're in the 99th percentile on this standardized assessment, but they have D's and F's in this class right now. They're not passing these tests. What's going on? And to be able to have that information in a singular data picture early on to kind of give us a heads up, that's really useful information to a team.
And so I had read through some of this earlier. It looks like the functionality for assessments is coming. It looks like there's administrator, but
They're
do
good.
we hope to maybe utilize it fully so that we can have just one program?
Yeah, that's a piece I think we would want to evaluate at some point, because I think the other thing is too, when you can kind of centralize some of the different things you're asking people to do and they only have to learn how to navigate one product instead of multiple products, that just reduces some teacher workload and creates a little bit, again, more time and space for them to do the things that we want to see them doing, which is talking about how they can best support kids.
Will you tell us a little bit about your timeline? So imagine this is approved next month. What does implementation look like to where do you think everyone would be fully trained and we'd be fully functional?
Yeah. Ideally, we'd be able to build our dashboards and start training with our district leadership team. So our directors, folks working in our teaching and learning department, our building principals and assistant principals, and our instructional coaches throughout this school year. And then start working with key groups, key teacher teams who can kind of sort of be the leaders, if you will, into the following school year, and then slowly start to spread that out again at semester with inclusivity for all of the teacher teams. And so then by year 3, we've got literally everybody using it. And then in that spot to really evaluate its overall effectiveness and be able to give us some feedback too on whether or not tools like formative are really necessary, because we know that there's a functionality within ION that could replace that. So ideally, we start, big picture, district level, your directors, your principals, your administration, and then work our way down to the teacher teams, build capacity with our administration first so that they can best support and lead professional development in their buildings.
So we wouldn't even look at your teacher to student data. We wouldn't be able to really see that in its full capacity with all of the students in there and actually data from the teacher that's teaching that student until year 3.
Year 2.
Year 2.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I would think year 2 is when we're really bringing our teachers into this work and bringing in more training for them. A lot of the implementation for this first year is going to be us making sure that we can get those data sources in, start building those dashboards. So a lot of that data is already available to us, but we want to make sure that we build some capacity within our leadership team first so that they can best support their teachers when they would start using this.
By year 1, do you mean?
I mean, like this year, this school year.
Yeah, this year. So really a half year.
Sorry. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Sorry if that wasn't clear. Yeah, this school year, we'd be working to build the dashboards, train up our administration, and then start bringing in teacher teams the following school year.
And teacher teams, meaning like our entire staff.
Mhm.
I just want to understand when we look at data, there's not this isn't actually everybody, or this is just a piece of it. Like, I want to understand how deep we will be cost-wise when we talk about efficiencies and adding, if we're at $90,000 before we're fully using it, let's think that changes the 2.5 minutes or whatever of time saving. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I think you're looking at this school year, this is what I consider year 1, building out those dashboards and focusing a lot of your training and professional development on your district leaders and building administrators, and then bringing that same type of training then to our teacher teams for the 26-27 school year. And then as we actually get into year 3, which would be the 27-28 school year, that's where I would think we would be in a really good position to say, hey, everybody's been trained, we've been using this product, we can really evaluate how effective it is and whether or not we think it is in fact creating those efficiencies that we hope to see.
Any other questions or thoughts?
No, you're right. It's 9 minutes then instead of 2.75.
I'll take 9 too. But like I said, we will come back, or at least I will be back. I can't commit all of the building principals, but I'll be back at the next meeting. So again, as additional questions arise, there are some things we can check on for everybody. But yeah, as other questions pop up as you review the proposal, or like me, I always think of something after the fact. So please feel free to let me know, and I'm happy to speak to those at the next meeting too.
I just have one further quick question. So you're not really looking at this. There was a comment made about replacing staff, that we'd have so much time savings. That's not really what you're going for, is it?
I'm not looking to replace staff.
Okay.
But I am looking to make their lives better. So.
All right. Well, thank you. Thank you, Dr. Smith. Okay, moving on. We have an action item related to the two-way radio purchase recommendation.
Yes, this was discussed, been discussed several times over the past year. We brought a formal recommendation at our last meeting. It was mentioned at the last meeting if we would go back to the rep and see if they would potentially throw in for the price that was quoted, the shorter antennas, and that was submitted and it was agreed to by the vendor. So this approval would include, for the same price, the shorter antennas on the two-way radios that was presented. So we are asking for approval for those radios here this evening.
Well, what a bargain. Then I'll move to approve action item 9.01. with the free shorties.
I'll second.
And we are taking your recommendation on TFM com, just
Yes.
for clarity. Yeah,
Okay,
I second.
there's a motion and a second. Any discussion? I just want to say thank you to TFM Com for being good partners. We appreciate the throw in there. All right, no other comments? All right, Rachel, please take the vote.
Mr. Ewing,
Yes.
Mrs. Milius,
Yes.
Mr. Hole,
Yes.
Mrs. Baker,
Yes.
Mrs. Horn,
Yes.
Mr. Chitwood,
Yes.
Mrs. Mitchell,
Yes.
approved.
Awesome. Thank you. Moving on to future discussion items. Is there anything that we can remove? Or is there anything anyone wants to add? I would love an update, and I don't know that necessarily needs to go on here, but I'd love an update or thoughts on whether what our plan is for Peach Jar going forward. I think we've outgrown or maybe Peach Jar isn't the right fit for us anymore, but I'd love to hear what our plans are to continue that communication with our parents. So I don't know if that's a discussion item that needs to go on here or whatever, but I'd love to hear that. Anything else anyone would like to add? What about removing? Currently, we are doing site-based classroom visits. There's been two already, one at Spring Hill High School, one at Spring Hill Middle. There's a meeting schedule, if anyone would like to attend, but I feel like we could take that off of there as we're in the middle of that. Anyone else, anything else we can remove, adjust?
Well, we're about to go up to the calendars and it's Anna's, but the reading test scores, since that all came out, are we closer on when we're going to hear about that next?
I think it's on the work calendar for the next, for the October board meeting to get your first review of data.
And it's also on the October 13th meeting date for the solar array report update.
Awesome. Okay. All right, well, if there's no more additions and subtractions, let's move on to let's move on to the board work calendar.
Yes, as I said, you will be getting in the next few meetings, the solar array, you're going to start getting a couple meetings, next one and probably the one after, a couple in-depth updates on our student assessment data reports now that we have received all of the data that we update every year with our ACT, AP, state assessment data, as well as, and later on, have the comparison data with the regional and statewide schools. So that's going to be coming up in the next several meetings that will definitely keep us pretty focused.
Okay. All right. Moving on to 12.01 report, Board of Education member reports.
I'll go ahead and start. Was managed to attend our first site council meeting at Prairie Creek, and I don't want to steal any thunder from the October meetings, but I got a sneak peek at some of the performance results from the assessment testing at Prairie Creek, and that's all I'm going to say. I am smiling, so that might give a little bit of it away. And then it was interesting, we've got the ground break, they broke ground just to the east of the school. And so that townhome apartment construction is underway. And so there were some parents that expressed a little concern. We've got fencing that runs along the south side of the school, along the street there. And I know I've seen the elevation plans from Rod Rock on exactly what they're doing there. It's going to be a pretty extensive wall that runs north-south along that kind of wetland creek area, right? And in fact, I think it's going to be like 10 feet tall. It's an actual wall. I think, but the question came up from the parents, are we going to do anything then for fencing on the north side over there by the ballpark and that area along the street? So I'm just raising that to the administration because I promised them that I would. And then they also wanted me to express thanks for getting the crossing guard there at South Britain and 165th. So
Yes, that, we will definitely get with Mr. Williams and Kylie on the fencing hill piece. But then I will say a shout out to, like I said, Mr. Williams and Kylie have, especially Mr. Williams, has worked closely with City of Olathe with the sidewalk crossing guard, and they've been terrific partners in helping us make sure that we keep that area safe for our kids. So that's good to know.
I was able to participate in the donuts with the grown-up at Sheila, and morning and afternoon. And the afternoon crew was a little more active than the morning crew, but it was really fun. So something they do maybe once a semester, once a year or something. So
I did, I sat in, I was the fill-in, no problem, happy to do it. It was great at Timber Sage Site Council, right before here. I'm actually gonna tie in to Doug, which is, heard comments about especially getting, Ridgeview, in hand and, 175th. So again, those comments from parents that they'd like to see that. And so I referenced the efforts that we've made, putting Mr. Williams in there and that he's out there. And I said, he's a great guy to talk to about it. They did a quick initial review of scores, which scores are up and they're very happy about as well. Other things of note going on this year, their book, their school book to be read is Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. How's that reading going? Is it good? Okay.
I believe we're on chapter 11 right now.
Yeah. One of the things from the meetings, they're talking about maybe spreading out the reading a little bit more. That was some of the feedback that they got there. Again, just really good parent involvement. You know, they're getting parent involvement at car drop off, at lunch, reading. And that volunteer rate is, 5 to 25 parents coming in. They're seeing 10 to 15 parents come in to do Lighthouse. So great involvement and engagement there. So there's my report.
Okay, I'll give mine. I went to the high school site council meeting. We also went over test scores. I'll save some of our comments for that presentation. Their discipline referrals have significantly decreased since over the last 2 years. Last year, very similar. The last 2 years, very similar number of students. So we had student representatives there, which I thought was a really great idea. And they gave quite a bit of insight to different things that were happening in the school. Talked a lot about homecoming that had just happened. And quite a few new parent involvement this year with some of the parents that had been on it the last few years. Those kids had graduated. So it was a great, insightful meeting. I've also been attending our SPED site classroom on that tour. We went to Spring Hill High School last week. Last week. We got to see the TIES program, the life skills room, and unified choir, which is new and very cool. And honestly, that was really advocated for from one of our students. And she hopes to go into music therapy, and this was something she thought would benefit some of our other kids. So very cool program. Today we actually visited Spring Hill Middle School RISE program. Again, wonderful things that are happening. And these tours and visiting each one is really identifying how the needs of each of these schools are a little different. What they provide is just a little different, and very cool because we're able to take our population of kids that need the support and place them or suggest placement in the areas that benefit them the most. So I would suggest you guys coming to these. There's another one on Thursday, and I did have Rachel update the important dates link in our Friday update with it. So if you haven't gotten the email or can't find it, it came out quite a while ago from Miss Courtney Weber. Those dates are also in that link. And I think that we're doing 2 on Thursday, I believe. I believe we're doing Timber Sage. No, we're doing Woodland and then Timber Sage. So you'll kind of be able to see what Woodland provides and then kind of back it up and see Timber Sage. And it's a connection there because Timber Sage kids, most of them go to Woodland. Some of them will go to Woodland. So I was able to go to a band competition on Saturday, which our band is now competing in a lot bigger competitions than they ever have before, which has been very cool. But that also means tougher competition. So a few years ago, we competed against teams or schools similar to our league. We were winning every competition. And so now we're up against bigger schools, the Olathe schools, the DeSoto's, Blue Springs, like just bigger programs overall. The size of our band, we look very tiny compared to their what they have going on. But out of 17 schools, we placed 7th, which is amazing. I just am so proud of them and their dedication that they put in every single day. The last thing I just want to say is I was able to help, as we talk about dedication to our students and their success after school, I was able, with the help of April, I was able to help one of our students, college students, with a survey and an interview that they needed for a class in college. And it's exciting to see where these kids go after they leave us and the success they continue to have afterwards. So I love that. I love that they reached out to April and asked for assistance with that. I love that they still looked us, and then hearing them speak about education after the fact was cool. So that's my report.
I forgot one thing I just want to throw out there, and it's only because I saw you there too, but I want to give a shout out to Chef for hosting the tailgate parties before our football games. And it should be noted that it's open to anybody. So you can come and enjoy some free food and merriment with your fellow parents before the football game. And so thank you, Chef. It's always a treat.
I agree. I think that is a wonderful audition this year. And the next one's October 3rd. So please come. And it's free dinner and fun for the kids. And the Bronco mascot is there. So that's really fun photo op for the kids. Anyone else have additions?
I did go to the suicide prevention presentation at the high school 2 weeks ago, put on by the Johnson County Health Department. And it was a very informative presentation, interactive. I felt like he had a lot of great information for these kids. It's such a crucial time, being 14, 15 years old, they're right in the middle of being at risk for that. So I felt like it was a really good presentation, and I hope that we continue to do more of those in our district.
Awesome. Well, thank you. Moving on to 13.01, our superintendent's report. Dr. Luttrell?
Yes, I have a few items to note. First of all, the official count day process began today. I say process because it kind of continues into early October because it's not just particularly who's ever here today. There's some small criteria on that. You basically can count students that were present today or at least one day prior, but they also have to be present one day after today up through around the first week of October. So been a very rough estimate, like I said, and this will change, but when we look at just our K-12, because the state funds those at, a full equivalent student, at the, the per pupil expenditure rate. Looks like we're gonna probably be around 4,045. That would, if we did come in at that, that would equate to an approximate increase of about 77 students from what our official count for K through 12 was in 24-25. Those numbers again are separate from the pre-K numbers because the state doesn't fund those. And also those do not include our virtual numbers, even though I do know we're going to come in higher at the virtual school. But again, remember, there's a contractual obligation there. A big portion of that money goes directly to the virtual school. We do get a percentage. But the big numbers, like I said, we should know more about our next meeting on the 13th. But we are going to be up from where we were last year, K through 12, about between 70 and 80 students that, give or take. That is going to be still a slight decrease from what was projected by RSP, but still, I expect them, they usually come in at about that 1% to 2%, within 1% to 2% accuracy, about a 97, 98%. I still expect them to be around that, but I'll have that as next time as well. We're looking forward to our conversation about school safety that we're having on the evening of Tuesday, October the 7th here at this building in this room. We're gonna that evening share out, what some of our existing layers of safety that we have in place, to the extent that we don't divulge everything that we have in terms, so that someone on the outside could, take notes and plan around that. But talk about the SROs that we have in place, some of the other information that, like this year, we put in, sensors. Well, last spring we put in sensors at the high school, to try to be a deterrent. We're going to talk about a lot of those things. And then also we're going to take opportunity to listen to any ideas from parents or those in attendance that evening to kind of say, hey, have you thought about this? Could we look into this? Because there are continuing to be a lot of technology that's evolving that, around the use of AI and that's really doing a lot of neat things that we definitely need to continue to keep abreast with. So that's going to be the evening, October 7th. We're going to start that at 6:00 and we'll probably hope to wrap that up around 7:30-ish. So we have been pushing that out, and we've spent some special invites as well to, some local law enforcement officials, government officials as well, to see if they could, be in attendance that evening. But we're looking forward to that. Hopefully we'll have a good turnout. If anything, I think it's important that we do that to continue to be proactive rather than reactive. And then the third and final thing that I want to note is what's noted about we are very fortunate to have a very active education foundation that supports all aspects of our district in terms of our programming, especially the last 2 or 3 years. They really have stepped it up and really been very involved in a lot of different things to help raise funds. And we will be having our annual State of the District breakfast that we kind of do every year, highlight some of our programs, give some of the key accomplishments the districts had in the past year. But we also kind of do that under the umbrella of the foundation, whereas a lot of the money that comes in that we make from the sale of tickets and so forth does go to the Education Foundation for that. So that's going to be the day of Thursday, October 16th. We're going to hold it this year at Forest Spring Middle School. And the doors will open about 7:15 a.m. with our formal program beginning, right around a little bit prior to 8 a.m. And we hope, like I said, we already know that we're going to have a lot of student participation in the terms of entertainment because we do have a lot of talented students to showcase. And hopefully within the next week, in the past, we've been limited, especially the last couple of years, we've been at the place in town, the venue that Meadowlark, and of course, that's long available, which is a good thing to a degree because being at Forest Spring, we'll be able to probably hold more people, and there's a particular opportunity that we should be able to possibly be able to offer tickets sales as well to the public, to parents. And then in the past, a lot of the tickets have been kind of brought up immediately by a lot of our sponsors, vendors and that. So we hope that we can throw that out as well to get more people involved. But again, that's coming up. So again, next 2 or 3 weeks going to be very busy, and we will continue to update you each month. But again, it's been a good start to the school year. We're in about day 30, right at day 30 of our school year. And like I said, it continued to go pretty well. That's my superintendent's report.
Awesome. Thank you, Dr. Luttrell. Does the ticket sales to the State of District Breakfast benefit Chef at all?
Are they handled?
Do they benefit Chef?
Yes, yes. After the meal is paid for and that, they tip, all the proceeds go directly to the foundation.
Perfect. Okay, wonderful. Thank you very much, sir. Moving on to 14.01, we need an executive session.
Madam President, I move the board go into executive session for the purpose, just took myself off the right screen. I move the board go into executive session for the purpose of discussing personnel matters of non-elected personnel to protect the privacy interest of identifiable individuals under coma. Those to be in the session include the Board of Education members, Superintendent of Schools and Assistant Superintendent of Schools, and administrators as requested. The executive session is to begin at 7:35 with the open meeting resuming at
9.
8.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Yes, 8.
8:05, 8:15.
Yeah, 8:05.
At 8:05 at this place.
Second, I think.
Okay. There's a motion and a second, executive session beginning at 7:35 and ending at 8:05. Rachel, please take the roll.
Mrs. Milius,
Yes.
Mr. Hall,
Yes.
Mrs. Baker,
Yes.
Mrs. Horn,
Yes.
Mr. Chitwood,
Yes.
Mrs. Mitchell,
Yes.
Mr. Ewing,
Yes.
approved.
Mr. Vice President, I move that we extend executive session to end at 8:35.
Second. Rachel? would you take
Mr.
the-
Hull,
Yes.
Mr. Chitwood,
Yes.
Mrs. Mitchell,
Yes.
Mr. Ewing,
Yes.
approved.
Oh, somebody's gonna make a
Somebody
motion.
needs to make the motion, yeah.
I motion to
right there in the
extend the executive session to 8:50.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Rachel, please take the vote.
Mrs. Milius,
Yes.
Mrs. Baker,
Yes.
Mrs. Horn,
Yes.
Mr. Ewing,
Yes.
approved.
Okay, we are back in session. And we are adjourned.